Hey, oh, and welcome once again to my world. We have saved you a seat. It may be in the back row, but we've saved you a seat. Hit that like button, please, as you come in. Uh, El Shadowhawk, hell, all I'm running behind. Be there shortly, Rex, and the Ninja Ginkgo in the house. Hey, yo, what up? What up on a hump day on a Wednesday? Well, for me, it's just been a time of reflection and thinking and creating and doing a little bit of yard work. Doing a little bit of yard work. Uh, got some of that debris up yesterday, and it's been windy, so had to like re-sweep it today. Here's that little cutting mat that I bought. I'll have to try this out and see how it works some point. First, I must take it out of the plastic. I finally, I had to get this from upstairs, and I've got room down here now to put a trash can. I can't hardly be in a room that doesn't have a trash can or a trash can in the next room handy. There's just always something to throw away. Most of my throwaway stuff is recyclable stuff, and I do have a recycle bin, like a big trash bin. Here you pay like $25 for it in town, and for the life of it, so that's not bad. If the city will recycle the stuff, I think they had a report recently that most of the stuff wasn't being recycled. Only 38% or less was being recycled out of all total stuff that could be recycled. So somebody not doing their job, and it makes me, for all the bashes over the head since the 1970s about recycling and the benefits of recycling and everything, you should recycle and you should feel guilty because you're not recycling. And then when you do recycle and it's like, is this just a psyops on the public? What, come on. I'm willing to recycle if you're willing to recycle it. Hey, Shadowhawk.
Hey Rex, what's going on? Hail everyone.
Oh, you're sounding marvelous today. Visualized a couple. Now I'd already created the character the other day, but I named him today, and I've got a couple new sketch cards, new characters for the 43 to reveal.
Cool.
I did not do topic lists last night. And there was the Hilljack Happy Hour afterwards too with Sabrina and Tokamai and some others over on Tokamai's channel, and I totally didn't, I rested, Ginkgo in the house, Apex Comics in the house, mind blowing creations, right? Welcome to episode 1266, building a mind blowing cosmic universe, one character at a time, because it takes time to create a whole universe of characters, especially when they're brand new. I'd like to start off by saying, now that you're here, happy birthday to Keith Gleason, the letterer of Devil Flyer. He's one of the letterers. John Fernandez is another letterer. He lettered the Devil Flyer story and inked it.
Well,
And
happy birthday, Keith.
Happy birthday, Keith. Absolutely. Keith Gleason, great guy within the community. Mighty mascots. He's one of those that have really stepped up and went beyond comic books, even with this 3D printed clamshelled figures, even though they may not be articulated. That's a big step for any creator, especially a creator that's been on a fairly small budget all along, with his campaigns and everything. Although I think, some things are kind of growing in traction, and he's one of those that gets out there and does like Plasticon and other conventions. He's been around for decades, and and actually streams on the Indy Network. You know, so got to give him props, man, for everything that he does. He's an awesome letterer, and that's a skill that I would love to be able to get into and do, but that's a separate altogether. You know, my head is more into the visual, although be very visual, especially the sound effects. You know.
And hail Apex and Jenko. Good to see you, boys.
Absolutely. So I think Keith Gleason is 5 years old today. Maybe he's fairly young man. I think he's probably in his younger 40s. I don't know, in his 40s. He's younger than us. But that's not necessarily
maybe even late 30s. I'm not sure.
Maybe. I mean, his hair didn't survive, but you know, that's okay.
Well, yeah, that happens.
That's okay. That happens. Yeah. I've actually been trying to watch some things on YouTube today about a myriad of different things. I tried to watch a little bit more on what happened to Mark Levin, you know, quitting Fox and Fox. You know, Reagan said about the Democrats, he didn't leave the Democrats party. The Democrat Party left him with their policies and whatnot. You know, pretty much the same thing happened with me with Fox during the last the presidential election, the one that Biden supposedly won. And I say supposedly in big brackets. You know, because when you're declaring Arizona, I can't get over that. When you're declaring a state for any candidate, I don't care if it's the Green Party or an independent runner or Democrat or Republican, it doesn't matter to me. You got less than 1% tallied up on the votes. How more obvious than you can get that you're trying to sway votes, you know?
Yeah.
You've got a hidden agenda. And I know that Fox, right before that, got bought out and they were more liberal bent. And they lost me right then. I went to like Newsmax and other sources. I was like, Fox has been kind of towing the line anyway for a while. They're not truly conservative. So I'm kind of glad Mark Levin's kind of, and I don't think it had anything to do with it because he's trying to get more centered, and I get that. He's trying to figure out the world he lives in, and that's not an easy thing to do, you know, especially when you're, you know, got millions of viewers and stuff like that. And I feel like, you know, he gave it a good stab. I think they're even part of the Blaze Network, which is part of the Glenn Beck, you know, thing. They kind of partnered with that. So that kind of throws a hole in their programming right there for however long the program went. I never subscribed to it, but I would like to. I just don't have the budget to do so. You know, he's got a new book out on power, which I know he doesn't shield it that much, but it's there in the background. And, you know, just talking about the power within, you know, what is power and how do people use it and misuse it? I think that's a great topic, especially very topical for today, because we see a power struggle, and we have seen a power struggle. Especially, I would say it really ramped up when Obama came in. I think we could agree on that.
We're still seeing it right now with the shutdown.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, Schumer's wanting to spend over like $1.5 trillion. You're crazy, and all it is repeal what you just repealed. Like, you know, give $50 million a year back to PBS. They don't need it. They can get that much and more on licensing great products like, you know, things like Sesame Street. They do that anyway. I mean, or have telethons. They rake in a lot of but their news and that they have, the NPR and all that, it's all liberal bent, and that's kind of why I left them once I found out that no, I really don't want to support this. You know, they dress it up as a good cause, and after a while, you find out, yeah, I need to be a good steward of my money, and these people are really for me. In fact, they're fighting against me, and a lot of my beliefs. So.
Right.
I'm not saying I didn't. I was a first generation PBS kid. Started in 1970, which blows my mind because I thought Sesame Street had started in '69, and I really thought they were in at least the late '60s. I'm going to have to look into that Wikipedia or something. Somebody's wrong or misinformed something. Homer Glitch in the house. Happy Hump Day. Yes, indeed. Hump Day is today, and I thought it was Monday. Monday, I thought it was Hump Day. Not that I thought today was Monday by any means. I had to resist the urge to get out, get out of the house today, which I did not. I stayed home all day. It was very windy, and I cleaned the patio off yesterday, and I cleaned it off again today because that stuff just keeps falling out of the trees, especially with that heavy wind knocking everything down.
Hey, Homer Glitch.
I try not to let that get to me, but you got it nice and clean, and then you come out the next, let Abby out a few hours later, and then there's those darn things all over the patio again. Although not as bad because I've slept it up pretty thoroughly, early in the morning when it's been getting pretty darn cold, upper 40s, I guess. The highs have been about 73 for the day, which has been pleasant, but it's still a little cool, throughout the day.
Yeah, it's actually pretty nice. Our high today was like 50, I think. So
you got to love it there in the factory because that's got to cool things off for you immensely inside.
Yeah, now it's just too cold in the factory.
Now it's too cold. Okay.
Yeah, I had to go around and turn the heat on today.
Oh wow. Okay. Is there not like a nylon jumper or jacket or something that you can kind of put on and work in that kind of keep you a little bit more warmer, your upper body?
Well, they don't supply any uniforms at this company because they're so cheap. So all these poor people are in there working with, sweatshirts and shit on, and you can't be around those machines with something that's got a hood on it. I mean, bad things can happen. Really, really quickly, bad things can happen.
Get pulled into the machine, yeah.
Yeah. And our main plant manager is down in Florida this week on vacation. So I had to go talk to the assistant plant manager, and I was just like, look, you want me to turn these heaters on or not? Because we got people in here working around these dangerous machines with loose-fitting clothes and bulky jackets. And he's like, oh, yeah, we better turn them on. I was like, yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
I was
I told you back
safety team for a while too. So
I told you in the past that at the printing factory before I worked there during the wintertime, they would actually put kerosene heaters up on the platforms where they were feeding forms and stuff with all that paper and everything and the fumes, and wow, what that must have been like to work there. Fire hazard,
Oh, yeah.
But apparently nothing bad ever happened,
Yeah, just because it doesn't mean it can't.
That it can't, right? Yeah. And you got forklifts going to and fro, not all the time, but sometimes. I mean, when they're setting up a job where they're putting the different forms, we call them forms, like page 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or whatever. The different forms to make the book on pallets, and they're wheeling them in, and they're wheeling empty pallets out and wheeling more in. It can get pretty hectic, and pretty dangerous if you don't watch your step. When you're on the factory floor, you can get ran over. Because they can kind of book it through there sometimes.
Yeah, Apex said, even the small ones are very heavy.
Oh yeah, it wouldn't take much for them to squash you like a bug or do you some bodily damage that would be permanent.
Yeah, just a very light bump. You could be
Apex
jacked up.
Apex says I had to turn on my heat too. Shadowhawk Talk, 70 degrees in the house. I just haven't been running my air, and it's been not getting too cold in here. Actually, you know, it being sort of confined, it's kept warmer in the house, and it actually, from coming in outside, it feels good. So I know my electric bill is going to be way down. And Omer says it's hitting 90 here in the deep South Texas. I'm glad it's not that hot here now. I'm just glad it hasn't been rainy weather, but it's been dry. Isn't that amazing? It's 90 there. Well, Alien,
deep in the heart of Texas. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
I was singing Omer.
Okay. He doesn't need you to sing him a song, believe me. It's wild though that Omer is there where in Texas where it's in the 90s, and Apex is in Lubbock where it's only getting into the 70s. So, but
Texas is a very big state.
Texas is a very big state, yeah. I'm just glad it's not 90 here. So I got two of the 43, 2 more cards done. My last card to show you was the Dream Watcher, which you kind of liked.
Yeah.
That's
you actually showed me him the other day.
Yeah, I was saying the last one I showed you was the Dream Watcher, the last one that I completed. Yeah. And then Dr. Proto.
Oh, he's kind of neat.
Yeah, he's all one color. He's all green, like he's a gelatin mass, you know. And he's just happened to be wearing a deep red scarf, you know, around his neck, his upper part there. And then a character that I am calling, that I designed the other day, and I was like, oh, you wait till you see this character, you know, he'll be pretty cool. And I know on this you can't see all of him. I decided to give him hands. On the original version, they were just like pointed long whips, you know, I guess is the best way to, you know. But here is Thorn, or part of him anyway.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I know he was spiky, you know. I decided to give him skeletal like hands and whatnot, but basically he's very snake-like. Both of his legs are fused together into like a tail, you know, and they're all spiky. So this down here would actually be his vertebrae. That's why I've got it segmented. You know, a lot of insects are type segmented anyway. So he's going to be really wild character, you know. I wanted to show you the severity of some of these characters that were really deformed, you know, physically and sometimes mentally. Dream Watcher is a perv. Okay. Very Keith Giffen like Rex. Which one was that? Was that what was Keith Giffen? Was it the Dreamweaver? Is that what you were saying was very Keith Giffen? So trying to develop the 43, and once I get the 43, I'm thinking about doing a larger Thorn tonight on the Hump Day show, just to show you his full body, you know, of what it looks like.
So what's the count at now? You at have you hit 30 yet out of 43, or do you remember how many you got so far?
You know, I did make a list here. I believe it's in this right here. I hadn't looked at it in a while. Oh yeah. Some of them I had named and some of them I don't. Yeah, Proto there. I can say Dr. Proto because he's kind of like a prototype. I don't know. That's kind of what I had in mind.
Yeah. Protoplasm?
Yeah, sort of protoplasm, you know. I don't know. He just popped in my head. all green and looking like that with the eyes bulging and the sort of rounded head. And then I drew him out and well, where I think I drew him out in here. You can see I did one character and then another. Just in my little note taking, what I've been taking in this little Fred's notepad that I got. So there you go. If you want to see the first drawing of Dr. Proto, it's not much different right here.
Oh yeah. All right, Omer's asking, is it Dream Watcher or Dream Weaver?
Dream Watcher, not Dream Weaver.
Dream Watcher.
There is a Dream Weaver. There is a character called Dream Weaver, but there's also one called that one was the Dream Watcher. Yeah.
All right, don't get in trouble with Gary. What's his name? The guy that did the song.
Gary Wright.
Gary Wright. Yeah.
I don't think I will, but I mean,
no, I don't think you will.
No.
Was it?
Yeah, because I said both night. Well, I mean, Dream. There is a Dream Weaver and there is a Dream Watcher. That one was Dream Watcher, and this character is. I do have Dream Weaver here somewhere, which is based on the song. I'll say it publicly. I mean, that's where I came up with the name.
Okay, now he's getting sued. Jeez.
Now I'm getting sued. Yeah.
He just admitted it. Come on.
It's a lyric. I don't know. Was it in the title? I'm really not that familiar
with
the name of the song.
Okay. It might have been the name. Might even been the name of the album. I don't remember.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. Back in October 1st, I did Dreamweaver, and there he is. I'd done a head sketch of him. He came off a head sketch, a new character. Dreamweaver.
What do you think about that song? It's a little perverted.
It's what?
It's a little perverted.
Okay, my mind doesn't go there, and I don't want you to ruin it for me. Whoops, it's a little bit perverted, and then he bounces, so that's kind of suspicious. All right, come on. Potato Cam got it out of focus somehow. A little better, not much. Baron Steel here. As long as you don't play the song, you're fine. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, and also looking up for, a variety of powers with these characters. I really like to play with some of these characters. They are broke mentally, physically. I mean, more mentally than anything, but like Pretty, I started off with this, and that's where kind of the concept for Pretty came from, was just this butterfly with female eyes, on it, where she can, much like Green Lantern, do energy constructs, but she's very childlike in her mentality.
Sorry about that. Wrong button.
Oh, I came up with a new direction a couple of days ago for Inner Man, watching Fantastic Voyage. It's like, well, maybe he can shrink like the atom.
No.
Which, would definitely kind of lean into his name, I don't know. I'll think more on it. But been writing down a lot of different things. Devil Flyer backstory. Actually the story that takes place 250 years into the future. Yeah, so it's all kind of like coming together,
well, that's good.
Yeah. especially some more on the director and his role in things. He is alluded to in a couple of times in Devil Flyer, and of course he's on the back of the Virgin cover that Jimmy Reyes did. So that's his first cover appearance, and he will be a sort of my Spectre-like character, baddie, super baddie, but yeah, I think once I get these grounded, I'm thinking about Euphoria appearing, very close to when she left the time, in World War II. And I'm also thinking, when thinking about Thorn, thinking about him actually appearing fairly during the war, sometime during the war, before the war's over, so there are some that actually appear before the war is over. Stone, I always wanted to appear in the 50s, and I'm thinking it popped in my head. I just felt right, and I kind of tend to go with those things, like appearing like 1951, so early 50s. It's kind of like Apex's Fembat, right? She's bitten in 1968. Well, that's almost 60 years ago. She's been a vampire for almost 60 years. Well, he could go back and just do kind of a, 3 or 4 Fembat stories and have one set in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, all of them in the 80s, all of them in the 60s, whatever, right?
Okay.
He can, well, same way with the 43. I can pop them up in any era that I want, or, if I want to tell sort of like the Death of Silver Boa and throw one in there, I could, which I don't have any plans to do that, but I do have plans for throwback to go back to the 1800s in an Old Lady Midnight story, and then the one that's set 250 years in the future. And then that I've been tying that story in with the Devil Flyer, sort of the climax in issue 7. So, it's just slowly coming to me the way these things can interrelate. You may read them years apart, but if you put it all together, then you go, oh, that was alluding to this or that, or, didn't know that. Oh, okay. I see the connection, the more I can interlace them and interconnect them, I think, the better foundation I have, the better grasp on it I have, you can always
right. You may have
tell
to
one
find
and
a way
done.
to, you know how Jim Shooter used to do the little editors and notebox on like Spider-Man and stuff? If something was going on and you'd get to see a little editor's note, see issue number, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So you might have to start doing stuff like that at some point, right?
Yeah, if it gets too complex, yeah. And then story thus far, the X-Men did that a lot, especially within the new comics, right? They would catch up to snuff about what had happened in previous issues. And like I've been watching The Expanse, they do that too, the story that they want to tell and retouch on. Well, we touched on that in episode 3, and we want to kind of bring that back around and touch on that and develop that a little bit more, that aspect or this character. And so they give you an opener that has something maybe you hadn't seen in a few episodes, right? Just to remind you of what went on. And
right, yeah.
And then that's good. That's good for touching on those areas that maybe you hadn't seen in an issue or two, bringing it back to your mind. Oh yes, I remember that. That was a way to go, but it wasn't that far away that I don't totally remember it.
Nothing wrong with a little recap,
Oh yeah, and you can do Olivia Day Ray before she was Fembat. Absolutely, you can tell her backstory. I mean, before I mean that's that's kind of been what I've been thinking about the 43 as well, is showing them before they're super powered.
Oh,
Especially
before they
starting
go into
in.
the experiment. Yeah.
Yeah, and what they had to go through. Of course, you kind of have to establish that. Why didn't they all come out the same? Well, I've already explained that was like different treatments. They all received different treatments. Um,
Right.
like uh Baron Steel, he might have been receiving high concentrates of iron in his blood or something. I don't know.
Or they might have all been given, different versions of whatever serum that they were, or if they were given some kind of serum before they went in the machine, and depending on what your natural abilities were, it
Mhm.
affects you in different ways. So
Well,
there's all
I
kinds
mean,
of good explanations.
there's similarities between you and I, right? We're all human beings, right? But we're
Right.
all unique. Even if you're twins, triplets, quadruplets, you got copies or clones of you out there. You're unique. There are differences. You have an individual fingerprint.
Even with identical twins, I'm not sure on that.
Yeah, even with the identical twins. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Well,
everybody's got different fingerprints. Yeah, it doesn't
well,
go that.
they're not identical, are they?
I didn't phrase it. Don't stick that on me. I'm not the one that came up with that one. That misled
I
you
know,
that
I'm
one.
just playing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't realize. I wasn't sure on that. If twins actually had, like the same fingerprints. What the?
Book and t-shirt combo is going away November 1st. Get them now, Apex says.
Now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if putting limited, things on there, I know it's got to go away so that you can have production numbers and whatnot. And,
Mm-hmm.
I was deciding now. I mean, I'm waiting on some scans now, and I imagine that she will probably have scanned some of that artwork I gave her. I did give her the original page that is unfinished, but I wanted a scan of it. It's near finished, of the 43. The original
Right.
43 where I came up with it to scan that, and then that artwork from I don't know if I gave her the Tank Ferret stuff or not. I didn't want to give her a whole bunch, but I gave her. I know I gave her the Ryan James pieces to scan. So I imagine she'll give those back when I go pick up the cards later this week, probably Friday. Hopefully, cross your fingers. New bystander and armored flyer promo cards. I want to keep that tradition going from the Ash Can through this campaign, through other campaigns, to always have like a couple promotional cards. And these I made very limited, only 25 of each. But one thing I want to do is add some of the pizza rounds already up on the campaign. Now, what would you think is a good price? Like maybe $100 a pop on the pizza rounds artwork that you've seen?
So,
Those are like what, 10 by 10 rounds? Those are pretty big pieces. I know on one Geo I spent 7 hours doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good sized piece. I don't know if people are going to see the value in fine pizza rounds. You know what I mean? They might want to start a little lower than that.
A little lower than that. Okay. It's trash. It's garbage. Okay, I just want to add them. you convinced them.
maybe 50 a piece or something. I mean, obviously it's still an original piece of artwork. I just don't know how many people are gonna get. Like, well, yeah, but it's on a pizza round. It's like,
It's
what I
on
mean?
cardboard, right?
Yeah, some people are gonna be like, well, this isn't professional enough or something. I don't know. I'm just saying. I don't know how other people think. To me, original art's original art, whether you get it on a napkin or a magic
Right.
book, whatever.
Apex says $75 per pizza round.
All right, and there you go.
Why does that settle it? There you go. Apex said it, so it settled it. $25.
That's it. The judge has spoken.
Or we could say, yeah, but I mean, Apex says a lot of things that are kind of wild and out there too. Now you got to admit,
I didn't say he was always.
I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm just saying, what I could do is I could do a promotional type thing. Regularly $125, now $100. Psych people out. I don't know if you like them, you pick them up. If you don't, you don't. Apex, yes, it says yes. I'm a wild man.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is. Yeah, he's like, I got a glow in the dark cover, and then I told him, yeah, we just did an interview with a guy. He did a glow in the dark cover. I think it was the Embrace, and they would cost them like a lot of money to do a lot of money.
You got more stuff?
No, I was in here first. She's
and
outside.
He's like, maybe we won't make it glow in the dark. It's good to say, I want to do this. I want to do a chromium cover. And then you look into the cost of it, and it's like, yeah, I can't afford that second mortgage. I can dream too, but you got to kind of dream realistic, do it in steps, not bite off more than you can chew. But yeah, I've got some pizza rounds. I've got some characters that have not been depicted that I've got to get back to doing some of the larger pizza rounds. I just feel like I need to do some more characters on that. I need to finish up like about 4 of them already, but inevitably, I'm trying to develop things. It would be cool to do if I'm going to do a larger image of like Thorn. It might be neat to put him on a pizza round. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. I do have some larger pieces that I've done, kind of like the Euphoria piece I did fairly recently. I forget the measurements on this. Let me measure this thing and I'll tell you. It is 5.5 wide by 8 1/4 tall.
Wait, Carrie,
so quite a bit more room to develop. You could put a new whole figure on or figures on something that big very easily. Lurking and drawing Pennywise, in case I missed chats. Oh, one that I was wanting to do, I'm glad Carrie popped in, was she's done a round of Lady Hopper, and I haven't done a Lady Hopper yet, so I'd like to do a Lady Hopper pizza round. I think that's why I was kind of wanting to do one, because I wanted to do a Lady Hopper pizza round. Maybe you could glue something to pizza round just to make it more durable. No, I mean, these are, pretty sturdy, Oops.
Yeah, I mean, if you pack them well, you pack them right, they're going to be terrible.
I can, hey, look here. Here's that Euphoria piece. I can bend that in half too. This is not as sturdy as this, as the cardboard. I mean, it's paper, that although that's archival safe paper and this is not,
Right.
I don't know. I mean, it's what do you value your artwork, There's some
That's
artwork
up
that
to
I
you.
paid for that I don't know if the demand's there, some pieces that, I've commissioned artists to do. And it's like, I don't know if I can make my money back on it right now. Now, later, once things are kind of churning along and whatnot, you make that available and you got some fan base there, they might be willing to pay, which is awesome artwork. I commissioned some great stuff. It's just, can I get, and I don't want to just get my money back, because I'm a fan too. I like, you got a whole wall or two of stuff. I've got stuff, but it's generally of my characters, and I'm fine with that.
I got a whole, almost 4 walls and stuff.
4 walls. Okay. Well, I didn't mean to, downplay your awesome collection by any means. So are you drawing
I got a couple of pieces.
Are you
for
drawing
K-pop.
Pennywise for Halloween? Carrie, is that the thing that we're trying to do? Or are you just trying to do Pennywise because you would do Pennywise?
Well, it's like the Halloween theme thing, right? You draw a new monster every day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the sad thing is people don't start on the Impact's another one I want to do too. Hell yeah. I'd like to do a pizza round of him. Oh, and I could do a pizza round of the Funko Bog too. Not to repeat myself, but I think Funko Bog, might have some potential. Like you said, merchandising potential. I watched a thing on YouTube why the horror comics of Marvel were kind of a failure. They were more into the magazines, and DC didn't get into the magazines, the Curtis magazines like Marvel did. That was kind of their strong suit when it came to horror. But I agree, sort of the Marvel ones, they didn't have the moodiness like the House of Mystery, House of Secrets, and DC did horror books much better than Marvel.
So.
They were all fun. Don't get me wrong.
When it came to the anthology, I liked Marvel's Werewolf by Night, Morbius, Man-Thing, Tomb of Dracula. As far as horror series went, not just anthology stories, I think Marvel did it better.
As far as the what now?
As far as series, ongoing stories with the characters, Marvel did it much better than they did their anthologies. DC did the anthologies a lot better than they did their ongoing horror titles.
Yeah, I do too. I think so too. I mean, when you look at their horror books compared to like the Nick Cardy covers and the Bernie Wrightson covers and some of early Bernie and Barry Windsor Smith and were in those Marvel books, they were getting paid probably low scale rate on their page work. They were, and Tom Sutton as well before he did his Charlton stuff. He had several stories in there. Some artists are just better suited to superhero stuff, and some of them are better suited to the horror type stuff. And I just think when you compare the covers, just the covers from like Tower of Shadows to like House of Mystery or House of Secrets covers or something like that, DC's got it. I mean, when it comes to moodiness and putting kids in danger on the cover, Nick Cardy put kids on there all the time. in these spooky covers.
Right.
You know, it just looks more mysterious and horrific. You know, and Marvel's looks more in the Marvel house style, like their superhero stuff, which kind of cut their sales right there. You know, they were kind of
Yeah.
majoring and known for that. Of course, you know, my first Marvel anything was one of those Curtis magazines that Vampire Tales #5 got me,
Yeah.
and that was for my love of monsters, you know, and just, you know how it is in a kid, you know, ooh, look, yeah, there's dead, oh, there's stripping, there's vampire, there's fangs, there's, ooh, this is edgy, you know. Uh, I listened to Rob Liefeld's podcast yesterday, and I got to agree with him. Like the Neil Adams, you know, we were talked about Neil Adams last Friday, and even him being put on X-Men couldn't save it, and a couple early Barry Windsor Smith issues in there as well around that time. And but the flaw was kind of in the characters. You needed more edgier characters like knifey, stabby Wolverine or something like that, really, to make and Rob, he said, I never figured out what the Beast could do except bounce around, you know. I get it, you know, and have big feet. I do get that. You know, you got to have a hook and the edginess, and I don't think even with Neil Adams layouts they even really had it. He kind of took it in a more realistic, almost sci-fi bent, you know,
Right.
with his issues. And I don't even his artwork. It was probably some of the best stuff, the best layouts and stuff that was being done at the time on the stands, but it wasn't enough to save the title. You know, they went quickly after that into reprints of the older stuff, you know, with Warren Roth artwork and stuff, which is pretty weak, actually. You know, when it came out, it was suitable, but it wasn't any Jack Kirby or anything. It's pretty weak, you know. I mean, X-Men didn't sell well really to the new X-Men. When you introduced Nightcrawler and Storm and all those new characters, Wolverine, you know, that's when it really became interesting. And I think it was a climb even up to then. I first time I looked at them, I thought they're weird. They're just kind of weird. You know, I don't know why. I just thought they were kind of weird, you know.
I think I'm pretty sure they did pretty well in the early days, though, with the original X-Men team, you know, when it was brand new. They did pretty good. But yeah, they got a little stale after a while. That's why when the new X-Men hit, it was, you know, all new, all different. It was really a lot of cool new members.
Yeah. Well, you're right. Gene Colan, John Buscema, Jim Steranko, Marie Severin did most of the covers for the Marvel stuff, or at least the layouts. There were a couple John Buscema covers. There was a couple Bernie Wrightson covers. Some of the latter issues, none of them ran very long, and the latter issues were like reprints. You know, had reprints mixed in, like Ditko reprints and some of the old, some of the Atlas stuff, or even Jack Kirby monster stuff, like first appearance of Groot,
I just feel like on
that.
the DC anthologies had a better grasp of like doing the covers to really draw you in to those anthologies. Where Marvel, even though you had really good, you know, obviously Barry Windsor Smith, some of those other guys I mentioned, you had great artists, but maybe the quality of the stories or just the way it was presented wasn't as scary.
Yeah. Yeah, it looked more like your standard Marvel comic, you know, which could have been almost like if you would have switched the Gargoyle out for another character, it could have been a superhero cover. You know, they just never really fully committed. They more fully committed in their magazine line.
Yeah, their horror magazines were a lot better.
Yeah, that's where Wendigo came out of and made his first appearance, you know, which is
That's
sort of mythology.
But Hulk, basically, Rampaging Hulk to me was a monster magazine. I didn't know it was a superhero.
George Tuska did some of those, and so did Herb Trimpe did a story in one of those in the early. And you had like Dan Atkins on inking. You had a myriad of different inkers, but you even had some writers like Marv Wolfman and Lynn Wein that kind of came up together, and they kind of were unknown, so they were working for DC and Marvel back and forth. They didn't like a lot of cross pollination like that. There were some people that had to use pseudonyms to work for the other company, to get work for the other company too. Sometimes you had to work for both companies to make the bills paid back then, right? So some of them had to use pseudonyms if they wanted to work for the competition. But I think Marv Wolfman and Lynn Wein, they were just kind of unknown. So they were kind of bouncing back and forth from Marvel to DC with their early stuff, and some of the early stuff with those early anthologies, Chamber of Chills, Vault of Evil. And then also there was Tower of Shadows Tower, whatever. Vampire Tales, Monsters Unleashed, Zombie, Simon Garth were in the black and white magazines, and they've reprinted those in small form, those Vampire Tales, which I got all 3 volumes of those. Some of those, even in magazine format, didn't really run that many issues. It's amazing, once the authority code kind of loosened up, which was the government coming in and saying, "Hey, Stan Lee, can you do a Spider-Man anti-drug story?" And he did a 3-issue arc story, and that kind of loosened up the authority code for all these horror magazines, and for them to kind of stretch and do some innovative stuff, a little bit more edgier stuff.
Cool.
And DC really kind of took it and ran. A lot bit more. If you look at all the Ghost covers and stuff that we've been showing, even those gothic romance ones, they got some real moodiness, to them. You look at the Marvel stuff and it's crap. That one issue, that one latter issue's got Jack Kirby crab monster, Titano, or whatever it's called, on the cover. That's not really horror. That's giant kaiju crab monster. It's not really scary. It's not really meant to be scary. It's kind of the monster of the week. They're scary, and then they're scary. And I think DC wins hands down, really. And they've been doing horror. They started in the early 50s with their horror. Like House of Secrets, that started like 1951, I believe. Real early, with some of the horror titles, which pre-code. I mean, some of them were pre-code, but they never really, National Comics never did anything like the EC Comics, which was like shock the reader. But we forget at Shadowhawk about all the different things that was on the stands at that time. There was like men comics, where you had later on, where you had women in bondage and the Nazis going to brand them, or bikers going to beat up on them or whip them, there was some pretty graphic stuff out there in the 50s. That wasn't necessarily comics, but there were some very graphic covers and magazines out there. Some of those men magazines and stuff with full painted realism. They were like full painted covers, I've got a thing called men something that's got all that sort of, and a lot of that came in the 60s, I understand, but a lot of it was in the 50s too. And then you had the swank, you had the, you always had the sort of pornographic type stuff that was a little bit more edgier too, right? That had edgy covers. So, it wasn't just all comics, but Where Monsters Dwell. Yeah, see, a lot of that was just reprint stuff. Creatures on the Loose, Weird Wonder Tales. I think that was all I think all those right there were just reprint stuff. At least in some of the ones that we talked about earlier, they had some original material, some early Jim Steranko stuff that has been looked at and examined and reprinted and stuff, and really they kind of ran him out. They were giving him like 10-page stories, and then they wanted to do like 2-page or two issues, like 20 pages. And I think that and he was slower, that slowed him up. They should have just kept him on like 10 pages starting out, and had tighter pencils and given him more time. Adventures in a Fear. See, that's Morbius. That's what you like, Shadowhawk, and you've got all those, but that's more superhero oriented, really. It's not really horror. Where creatures roam. And then you've also got Ghost Rider. But see, that's not really horror. It can be. I mean, it's dealing with demonology and Satanism somewhat. And, you got Werewolf by Night. You got Frankenstein's Monster. But those really aren't the way Marvel treated them, very horrific titles, are they? They're more in the Marvel style. And they frequently, they sometimes, let's say, sporadically would have other characters show up in their books, like Moon Knight, which he kind of started out as a monster hunter, so and then evolved into something different. But Iron Man, in the last couple of issues of Werewolf by Night, made an appearance, and I think that was a last ditch effort, maybe, to save the book. I don't know, but really, Iron Man's the only one that kind of crossed over into Werewolf by Night. I think one thing that hurt some of those books is that they kind of came up, Man-Thing. See, again, Not Living Mummy, Manphibian, that was out of the magazines. I don't think Manphibian, was he ever in the comics? I know he made his first appearance, and I know Neil Adams did Manphibian on a cover, along with Dracula and a few others. What a character! What a forgotten Marvel character, Manphibian. You probably don't even know Manphibian, do you, Shadowhawk? He's falling asleep, folks. I don't know. Supposedly.
I know.
You know Manphibian?
Yeah.
You do? Okay. Well, I probably wouldn't even know Manphibian, but John Falandes has a Neil Adams poster of that cover up on his wall. Either that or it's a 10 or something like that of that, and it's got Manphibian on it. But yeah, he's a pretty obscure character. I think somebody would do very well to invest in those Bronze Age magazines for sure. Some of those are very undervalued, and sometimes you get something that I think will be worth, something. First appearances, like Wendigo's first appearance and first cover appearance, long before he appeared in Incredible Hulk, famously around the time Wolverine did, I might add. I always enjoyed The Living Mummy. You had like Val Merrick, and Val Merrick was more suited to the horror stuff than he ever was, really. And Tom Sutton is another one, I think. Although Tom Sutton did, some Grimjack, some of the later Grimjack issues. Tom Sutton did the Gray Beast, did some stories there. The Beast. And Adventures into Fear. What was it? Adventures into, what was that? I have a ton of Bronze Age horror comics. Yeah, but do you have the magazines? Do you have the Curtis magazines? That's what I'm talking about. Is this? Yeah, that's Marcus Killigrew. I think that's Marcus, isn't it? Or is it? Is that you, Marcus? I can't tell because it's you know, it's assigning everybody an @ and all that. If it's
I think
not
it's
you,
Marcus.
Marcus, I apologize. Huh?
So I think it's Marcus. Oh no, wait. That's Matthew Creek, author. Sorry, it's not Marcus.
And we got Ryan James in the house. Hey, Ryan.
Hey, Lacto, what's happening, Ryan?
Good to see you. Matthew doesn't have a wrench. And it's very difficult to confer upon you a wrench. The way everything's messed up.
Yeah.
Friday, we will be talking some Jack Kirby, of course. I've already got that one set up. That'll be a lot of fun. There's so much to cover about Kirby. We could do like 2 weeks of Kirby, but we're going to move on, and I guarantee you next year sometime we'll cover Kirby again. King of comics, you know. He's probably not a bad top. Maybe we'll do that like around his birthday or the anniversary of his death, you know. We'll see. If you're wondering what the thumbnail is today, it's actually a section from a Jack Kirby. Whoops, I lost my co-host. Or did I? All right. Let's see here. There we go. Wonder where Marcus Killigrew is. Sorry, Matthew. Didn't mean to. They're doing something screwy there. 13 subscribers. I am subscribing to Matthew, and perhaps you should too. Here is his. Well, can I get the link? Yeah, I think I can get the link there. Paste. Wrote a supernatural mystery comic. It's on Kickstarter now. Can I drop? Absolutely. Name drop? Absolutely. Do more than that. Let me give you a wrench and you'll be able to drop the link to your Kickstarter. Absolutely. Just give me a second. I'm working on 2 different platforms here. Let me confer upon you a wrench, sir, so that you can drop that link to your comic. And if you want to come on and promote it sometime, Matthew, we'd be glad to have you and talk about it. The Night Slayers. Ooh, that sounds cool. Yeah, and Halloween's the perfect time for something like that, right? All right, now I'm gonna have to drop the StreamYard link. I'll be here in the chat. StreamYard is being a pain. Okay. So I won't drop the, Matthew, if you've got time now, I don't know if you got a setup or whatever. If I can drop the chat. I can drop the link in the chat if you want to come on and talk about Night Slayers, sort of impromptu. Shield Night Slayers. But to better, I haven't really counted them. I mean, they're, the second, how many of the 43 I've actually done, but I've got most of them created. I'm still working on cards for some of them, but I've done quite a bit of the 43, not every villain or every character that I've created and everything is, part of the 43, but I've done a bunch of them. So doing these sketch cards have been very good for, well, I mean, if Matthew can come on, I'll drop the link. Otherwise I won't. What are you doing now, Apex? Are you home where you can come on? Do you want to come on? You can come on. I like brainstorming with Apex. And I was excited to hear that he got a new backer on his campaign the other day. That's very cool. And I got one a few days before he did. So that was nice for me and our campaign, which is getting ever closer. Oh man, I go through these and I just see a whole universe of characters. It's just pretty cool. Pretty cool. Working and lurking, Rex. Okay. All right. Well, I'm saying Matthew can drop his Kickstarter link. Oh yeah, he can definitely drop the Kickstarter link. But if he's got a minute and it's set up to come on and talk about it, he can come on and talk about it. We'd love to hear about Night Slayers. Yes. Yeah, just drop that. Here's his YouTube channel if you want to go over there and check out his content. But by all means, Matthew, drop your link to your book on Kickstarter, and if you want to come on, you're more than welcome. Or if you want to set up something for another day, we can have you on. I've been more universally focused on. Even like I didn't go on topic list last night, and I totally, I've either been trying to get more on a restful schedule and do, and not, but I did notice that in all transparency, which I don't have to be, but, I like to keep up with things. Our views are down, what is it? I almost had to go over there and look at it on YouTube Studio. But I mean, when you set the bar so high, it's not hard to go down a little bit. So I'm not that worried about it. And I will be doing some more streaming. Yesterday we had a 43 people at the close, watching about 14 and a half minutes, not quite, with a high of 8 people, a little bit down. Our views and watch time hours, that's it, are down. But I mean, compared to other shows and other things, ours are probably killing it. I mean, views, we've almost got 2,000 views, in the last month. Watch time hours are, if I'm reading this right, 402, over 402 watch time hours. Not sure how you break all that down. Wrench the lad, Rex. I already did. He's got a wrench. He's got a wrench now. He should have. I wrenched him while I was talking. I was multitasking. But yeah, I've been giving a lot of thought, making a lot of notes, creating, even just resting, relaxing my mind, that's Dr. Proto. He just popped into my mind. Okay, all right, I'll take it. Put him on, draw him out, and then said, okay, I can work him in as this character, which was kind of vague for the 43, and create a sketch card. So his sketch card's done. So I was less than, I would say I'm about 25 having all the backers done, maybe less. I haven't counted them up, in a day or two. But I know my output for the last few days or whatever. So, and how many I needed, which was about 30. So I've probably done about 5 since then. So somewhere in there. So I like about 25 getting every backer's, card, sketch card, original sketch card, which you will get with your, charter member card. Every backer gets a charter member card. Where's How Dear? Thank you, Apex, for finding that over there on Kickstarter. Very cool. The promo cards will be in here sometime this week, I'm hoping. Hopefully she'll contact me Friday like she did with the last sketch cards, and say, come pick them up. They're already paid for, so all I have to do is pick them up. Hopefully I can pick up some original artwork. I will, confer with a few other people and get some advice what they think pizza rounds are worth. I think I've done some good work on the pizza rounds. They've helped me develop some things. I even created one character, the very first drawing of that character, Meltdown, was done on a pizza round. And the second card of Meltdown was on one of the sketch cards. Some of these sketch cards are the first time, or maybe the second, like this one was a painting. This is only the second time for Bloodsword I drew him, second time for this character, first time for that character, first time for Ghost, new characters. So first Swamp Dragon, really. I'll be working on some of these, I guess, the Hump Day show tonight. What I'm going to try and do is, much like this one, I need to get back and just finish this one, but sketch them out and in pencil, and then just doing the inks and then coloring is a lot easier than trying to think up, okay, how do I want to compose this? And like with this one, I thought originally I would put two hands in, and I could have done that, but I only put one hand in, on this. Just balance wise with this thing here, I think it works better. I would rather compose it out in pencil and then ink and color on stream. Or I just haven't been in a mood really, and I call it a mood to draw while streaming, because it's hard to be entertaining, and Omer says I'm so low energy anyway, so I'm fighting that. I'll never let him live that down, but he's not wrong. Sometimes I'm, people think I'm froze because I don't move that much. Also, last few days, maybe I've gotten my whole, eating cotton candy and donuts and stuff that's not necessarily good for me and stuff has sometimes kind of crashed out and doing some more yard work. Sorry, got a call. No problem. So Matthew, Apex dropped your link there, so you don't have to do that, but come in and feel free to drop your link to your project anytime you want. We're on here daily at 4 Central to usually 6 Central. We don't, if you're not subscribed to the channel, you might want to subscribe to the channel. We cover a variety of things. Omer Glitch has an artist on Crack Energy. Yeah, he's going through what I went through years ago, which was stream. I'd love to be a guest here sometime. Absolutely. Well, we'll set up. If you're on X, just check out Devil Flyer on X. I'll drop my X here real quick since I'm on X. It's right here with it, so you can subscribe to me over there. Whatever I usually, if you're not on X, I'm on Instagram too. I'm on Facebook under Rex Christian. We absolutely would love to have you on, Matthew. We're always looking for new people to have on. We don't push as many Kickstarters over here, but we're happy to have anybody that has. I think the last Kickstarter person we had on was probably the Ace Anthology. Subscribe to my channel. There you go, Apex. Push that channel. And there's my X there. Are you on X, Matthew? If not, like I said, there's other options. But I usually communicate and drop links and things through X. Here is what Jason finished up, a 2-page spread for Frog G on topic list last night. Like I said, I just kind of rested, and there was even another show that I usually do after that. I'm gonna concentrate mainly on my channel. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to go on topic lists. It's just like some nights you just don't feel like it's there. You want to do that, and I didn't want to do it last night. So, or get on Insta, Shadowhawk Max. Yeah. I mean, you got a wrench, Shadowhawk. You can drop whatever you want to drop to. Yes, you are on X. Okay. Very cool. Reaching out. Send me a message, DM me. So that I know where you're at and we'll set something up. Very cool. Today is Werewolf Wednesday for some people. I don't always celebrate it, but here you go. Here's your werewolf today, Shadowhawk. A couple of werewolves, a werewolf and a she-wolf. How about that? Probably AI, so, don't get too excited, but at least I was thinking about you, buddy. Rick Saylor showing off his absolute One Stormy Night by Jason Bascom. Don't know why, because I would think that, that he would have gotten that by now, but, it looks like he's got an original Jason Bascom piece of artwork there too. Send a message. Thank you, sir. Don't have any links handy at the moment. Oh, okay. Do you want me to drop a link for you then, Shadowhawk? Or get me on Instagram? Yeah. If he's on X, we'll go from there. He Shadowhawk, my co-host, likes to use Instagram. And I will follow Matthew. I will follow you over there. There you go. Followed you back. Tuesday works for me. Tuesday, Friday, or Sunday. Okay. Okay. How about Sunday then? You want to do Sunday? Let's see here. We can set something 4 Central Sunday, or you can come in whenever 5 Central. I mean, we'll still be going. My comic is inspired by Supernatural Grim X-File and Kolchak the Night Stalker. Oh yeah, 20 episodes of greatness there from Dan Curtis. Absolutely. Yeah. Hell yeah. Just let me know what works for you. Sunday at this time, if not, maybe next Tuesday. I don't like to do it that way. Let me do it this way. There we go. There we go. Here's Matthews. This darn layout. That's the best I can do.
When a child vanishes, the skeptical Officer Stone forms an uneasy alliance with paranormal investigators at the request of the only witness. Can the Night Slayers solve the mystery before midnight? Coming soon to Kickstarter, The Night Slayers.
Hi, I'm Matthew Craig. Some of you may know me as the author of Beacon, the Hero of Heartland, YA superhero novella. Today I'd like to talk to you about my new project, The Night Slayers. The Night Slayers will be a Monster of the Week supernatural mystery comic for teens and adults. If you like supernatural or grim, you'll probably want to stay tuned. Each issue of The Night Slayers centers around paranormal investigators Carl Vinson and Emily Niles facing a new paranormal threat inspired by a famous fairy tale. In our debut issue, based loosely on my favorite fairy tale, Rumpelstiltskin, the Night Slayers and a skeptical police officer forge an uneasy alliance in hopes of finding a missing side. So, let me confess something. I have done this Kickstarter before, twice. It wasn't until after they both failed that I was informed the art I had commissioned wasn't of the quality the fans expected. So I hired a new art team. This team has completed 10 of the 20 pages that make up issue 1. I've also written a script for a sequel based on The Little Mermaid. So, what do you get for backing? If you pledge at least $5, you get a PDF of the comic. You can also pledge $10 for a print copy, or if you're watching this video within the first 24 hours of the campaign, you can get a discount on the print copy. We also have some other tiers and add-ons, like a limited edition trading card set or a signed poster, and a few stretch goals that will be revealed if we reach them. Thank you for considering the Night Slayers. Goodbye.
Yeah, there we go. So we'll check that out coming up here. Try and get Matthew on. Does sound good. I'm going to pop out you're welcome. I'm going to pop out just for a second, because when I did that, my screen is like it's small. I'll be see, that didn't take long. I'm back to full size. Yay! Nice. Yes. Yeah. So hopefully speaking of Ryan James, hopefully I'll get your artwork scanned. It's at the printers right now. Hopefully I'll get that back when I go pick up the cards, the John Dillard promo cards. Those will be printed in full color. The backs will be black and white. She's got to send me couple demos. Only thing that I was worried about was on one of the card was promo card, number 3 or 4, whichever she makes it. Doesn't matter to me. The first 2 promo cards on the ash can that we did 2 years ago was, promo card 1 and 2. This is one of them right here that came with everybody's book. And Shadow has a museum of Bascom art pieces. Well, I don't know, man. So I don't know. I've been thinking about, okay, well, what can I put up on the campaign that I have scanned right now? Because I'm waiting on some stuff that's already been scanned. I really need to find my older scanner. I don't think I've ever quite used it. Maybe once. I mean, I bought it so many years ago. So it's an old scanner. I mean, when they first came out, well, I don't know when they first came out with scanners, but I guess maybe Xerox back in the 50s, right? Just working on all manner of things. I've got a trajectory for the Euphoria story. I want to do it all as a gray tone story, with that first story with cut color overlays just laid on the gray tones, so no inking, which is no hardline black ink in that first story. The length of it I cannot tell you. It's going to be kind of like a tragic love story. It's going to kind of be that character's backup. That's going to be your kind of segue, at least one segue into the greater group of the 43. The 43 being sort of Nazi experiment gone wrong. Matthew mentioned one show on there that was an inspiration. I can't remember what it was on his trailer, but Rumpelstiltskin for one. You know, I actually mentioned the Rumpelstiltskin's book and record used to scare the heck out of me. That story as a kid. Um, Jason was very generous with his auction winners, and he sent me just bunches of stuff. Thanks, Jason. You rock. I am considering donating some of the amazing Jason pieces. Yeah. Matthew mentioned Grimm too. Oh, Grimm. Yes, that was it. Thank you. Yeah, I've got all 5 seasons of Grimm. I like Grimm. I probably need to go back and watch Grimm, but I don't think it was that long ago that I did watch all the seasons again. It may have been about a year and a half ago, but some of these things I think I need to take more time, in between viewing them. Right now I'm actually watching 1967 Spider-Man cartoons. Yeah, K-pop junkie and their art auction. Yeah. Yeah. You'll have to get with K-pop over that. I'm sure anything you want to donate would be appreciated. I think they're doing mainly trading cards, but maybe doing larger pieces as well. Yeah, I just want to get the work done. I want to get the characters developed. Sometimes like Thorn and Dr. Proto, that means designing a brand new character and then sort of coming up with a name as well and powers and stuff like that. So you have to put a little bit of thought into it. But I'll be happy if I just get the likenesses down. But it's hopefully you've got, and sometimes it just pops into my head like Dr. Proto. It's like he was all green, had these bulging eyes, and I just kind of started with that and that rounded head, and it's like, okay, that's a good looking character, and really. Hey, Elsie, share the wealth, share the art, God's work. Absolutely. You'll be on the K-pop auction. Cool, Apex. That's cool. Sometimes I'm tired by then, it's like, I don't know if I want to, but if you don't want to lose it, you put it down. So, I was, not, this character too, off to the side was, something else and kind of like a redesign, maybe, that I had in mind for Devil Flyer's helmet, exposing the bottom part of his face there. Some things you use, sometimes some things you don't, but I'm excited to actually getting pretty close to the end of designing all the 43. 43 was a way to do villains and more female characters, villainous female. I mean, they're all psychotic. They're all, they're all kind of warped ideologically anyway, coming out of the Nazi regime, World War II. And that's only one aspect of the Marvel, not the Marvel, but the Momentum. I do that often. I say Marvel instead of Momentum universe. But it's going to be a big part because they're going to be, like I said, they can pop up in the 40s, back in the past, in the future. And I think it's just, it works. It works. One origin for all these stories. I think once you start seeing these characters all together on one page, you'll see, wow, what a variety of villains. And that's only like one set of villains, There's also the sort of standalone villains, and villains that and some of them I've already had created and rolled into the 43. So that I don't actually have to create 43 characters, but I think those characters actually, that gives them an origin, gives them a backstory. Yeah, I think it just works, and for some of the characters, some of the characters that I just kind of created that I think are not chart toppers. They're maybe second string looking characters. This will make them a little bit more interesting, you know. Case in point, let's see, I've got one pictured here that I did not too long ago. Of course, I'm doing aliens too. Here's the sort of leader of the Scorn, which is an alien. So in some cases, I'm doing alien characters. That and where aliens are going to come in. I mean, basically, Momentum Universe is a fractured universe. You know, something that may be way off into the future, like Alien Bog. He may not be seen for a long time, but been drawing him for 10 years, and I'll be doing 10 stories with him. In some instances, creating the new characters, like Throwback here. He's going to be in the Midnight story, the Old Lady Midnight story. This character was just a character I created, and I thought, oh, he could be one of the 43. He looks like he'd be a good, Nazi character, the Collider, some of the characters go back a long way, some don't. This Spider-like character, he goes back to 2008. Funko Bog just a couple years ago, Here's the first Funko Bog. What would Bog look like as a Funko Pop? He's cute though. Been very, can't wait to draw some of these characters some more. I'd like to do some larger, full costume versions of them, like Ghost there, created him. First and only drawing of him. I throw this in the trash. He's gone forever. Pretty. Same way with her that I did right before Ghost. I'm looking for the one. I've done so many. That's great. And I've come up with names. That's great. Equilibrium, Blood Sword. I mean, Baron Steel. Just sent you a pic for of my Pennywise. Not finished yet though. Okay. Absolutely. Hello, Janet. Janet is from Venus, I believe she says. So I got to go to Instagram. Okay. I'm not sure if I can go. I'm actually using. Yeah, I can. These days are strange days. Wasted days and wasted nights. Even this looks smaller. Because I go through Chrome, my system can no longer support. It's the mobile app. I might have pushed the wrong thing. Yeah, I did. Okay. Oh yeah, doing that on paper. There we go. There's Carrie's Pennywise that she's working on. A little bit larger for you to look at. I'll leave it up there for a minute. Which Saturday are we having Rex Specs and Apex on? That's November 4th, first Saturday, November 4th on this channel. Yeah. Yep. Mark it down on your calendar, Apex. The next Rex X and Apex will be here. Happy birthday to Keith Gleason. It is his birthday today. Friday, we'll be talking Jack Kirby. Marcus Killigrew's birthday. I don't want to speak out of turn. It's the 30th. We'll be looking at Arthur Saddam's artwork and having the R.J. Williams closeout campaign of Call Sign Orion on Friday after next on Halloween, 31st. Because the government has shut down that. What? Okay, what does that mean, Elsie? The government shutdown does not affect hardly anything. 17% of the budget. I mean, most of this stuff is baked in and is taken care of. Inner Planet Janet. Dreamweaver. Yes, he's the thing. Nebulous. Yeah. I think really to get me excited about doing and showing you some characters that maybe you hadn't seen, I'm going to have to find some old drawings. I've already done that with some of these. This just doing this Euphoria, I came up with her name and now have a story in line to do with her. Kind of inspired a story, with her. Sort of her origin story, her backstory. Stone's one I've got to work on and finish. I need to get back and work on him. Oh, here's the character I was looking for. I was wondering what I was looking for in there. I haven't named him yet. So, a whole universe of characters. I mean, golly, that's a lot of cards, all original artwork. And every backer gets one. Will get one with their charter member card, which entitles you to free stuff from now on in the mail. And I'll always check your address to make sure it's changed. Pretty soon I'll have the promo cards, the John Dillard bystander and Armand Flyer promo cards in. They're being printed up right now. I've got characters that I have not done yet, but I've done head sketches. This was the first and only drawing of him that I've done. Kind of look at him as like a, sort of intergalactic bounty hunter. I don't know. At this early stage, it doesn't, I'd like to do more with Impact. I'm excited about Impact. Everybody that backs also gets a, I believe 4x6 drawing, and in some cases like this one, I'll probably keep this one because I really like my first drawing of Impact here. Kind of inspired by Steve Ditko. This is the first drawing too. Should you put on a more value of a first drawing? I think so. But you with some of these sketch cards, you may get the very first drawing of the character. How invaluable is that? Not even know it. Rex just lay out some story page art with your notes. It brings them to life. First you got to kind of have the story in your head though. That comes to me in gloms and bits and pieces. Impact, IMPACT. Yeah. Not EM. Yeah. Impact, like impact. Blue Man. Don't know what Blue Man is. Croc Bog looks cool. Yeah, I've done 2 of Croc Bog because I'm doing, 10 additional bogs, and I'll probably do another bog tonight. I only like about 2 or 3 finishing the 10 subset, just celebrate 10 years of drawing bog, which will be in the, just added a new tier to my Kickstarter, a full page ad. Cool. My system is really, that's one reason in the last week, Chrome can no longer support it. I've been working with Omer yesterday and before to, and my sister's coming soon, so maybe she can look at it. And if I can get it hardwired instead of on Wi-Fi, maybe it'll look more seamless. And then people will be, probably complaining that choppy ass theater went away. I don't know, but potato cam's a thing too. We have checked the settings. It's at the highest resolution it can go. We're checking into all the different options to get things running as smoothly as we can. When I brought up like Matthew's campaign, I don't think it was bringing up all the pictures, or they were coming up slower than, and not just pretty much instantaneous, taking them a while to download. So if you're going to look at a campaign, you got to have everything come up, and not just have like a little thing. We'll click on that and it'll come up. It can't do that. So, I may have to work out some things. That's one. And I've just, it's always an adjustment time here, plus but I've been thinking about different streams and doing some new content on the channel, different things, and have already implemented some of that on the channel, and we'll see. Time will tell whether that's works or not, is successful or not. On the second, okay. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Not November 4th. I'm sorry. I was looking at the time you hosted this month. Actually, it's on the 1st. I thought it was. I just didn't turn it over to November. Yeah. Rex X and Apex show on the 1st of November. And on the 2nd, I'll be celebrating my 60th birthday. And I'll be hosting later on that evening a pizza round. Or whatever, the Omer Glitch drawing friends, whatever it's called. So it's the 1st Apex. It's the 1st, and I have Sabrina as the guest. She said she could do it, and we've not had her on before, and I thought would be cool, just have a good time. I don't necessarily think we have to have guests on the Rex X and Apex show. I think all three of us are capable of getting together and having a fun and interesting show just by ourselves. But if you guys want to continue having guests, that's fine with me. I'm game. I just know what I'm going to do when I have it over here on my channel. I never know. I was frankly shocked by the opener that Hex had last time. And if you're going to do something controversial, I think he should clear it through, the other two guys. Just saying, don't drop something controversial. It's easy to say, well, that was fun. Yeah. Well, if he had some pretty controversial or could be offensive to some people, and I haven't talked to him about it, but I'm not afraid to talk about it either. It's like, you wouldn't want me to, come on, and nobody wants me to come on their channel or somebody else for that matter and start saying some controversial stuff or being controversial that may be potentially offensive to some people, or maybe even get the channel struck down. So it's like, yeah, maybe you ought to clear that thing, and I get where he's coming from with it, trying to make exciting, fun, and entertaining. Maybe that's all it was, but to me, it was like, wow, I just want to leave. I kind of want to go and get into the hole, but that's just me, I stayed, I did the show. But yeah, the last Rex X and Apex opener was kind of cringeworthy to me. But whatever. Did you say Ninja? Don't think so. I've still got to do Dead Ninja as a character. He's on my short list to do. Or I don't even know that word. I'm just going to call it baguette, which is a piece of bread, right? What is this? I don't even know. You're going to have to school me on that one, Tree Goblin. But thanks for everybody coming in here. We've got 10 people in here. I can't even watch my own YouTube channel. This is how screwed up it is because there is no mute button that I can find. It's on Foxfire. I think that's what it's called. I always invert it and say Firefox. Whatever it is, it doesn't play the videos. Chrome will play the videos, but it's formatted differently. And I cannot play my own channel here, which usually I do. I keep it running that way. If I need, like with Matthew, to go over to YouTube to wrench people, I've already got it pulled up, there's a secret to this. To be prepared, which I can't always say that I am. Janet sent another one. I'm making myself costume for the next movie review. Wow, man. That does not look like you, Janet, at all. That's incredible. Let me share that with you real quick. That does not look like you at all. That's amazing what a little bit of makeup and costuming will do. That's Janet from another planet. Wow. Does not look like you. Said chocolate monkey once. That was controversial. What was controversial? I just thought that the opener that Hex made for Rex, Hex, and Apex was a little bit edgy, a little bit controversial. Maybe maiden fun, blah blah blah. But it's like, if you're going to do that type of thing, I think you should have consulted Iron Apex, about it. But it's on his channel, but it made me feel a little bit uncomfortable. But that's just me, like I say. Need some lizard representation. Out of all my looking today, I have not found any decent lizard representation. That's pretty sad, isn't it? There's also that female lizard character that I have to do a sketch card of. I've only drawn her once. I was on a stream where I was drawing, just coming up with new characters. I like to do that. You never know what you're going to come up with. I'm trying to do that with these sketch cards. Or whatever I'm working on. I'll find you. Oh, Dr. Dolittle. That's cool. Yeah, I haven't thought of Dr. Dolittle. I always like to watch Dr. Dolittle once a year. That was a great, by Rex Harrison. That was a great thing. Come on, somebody's got a lizard somewhere. Do I have to do a search for lizard? Probably. Usually there's Godzilla all over the place. I had some King Kong news yesterday and didn't even share it. That's pretty sad. Something that they were doing. King Kong. Here's your war comic for today, Elsie. Can't get any bigger than that. There we go. Here we go. I'm back, Kelly. Dress up as Lucy from Bram Stoker's Dracula. Yeah. She was great in that role and in Spider-Man. That isn't you? Oh, that's the costume. Okay, well, wow. I thought that was, really made you. I could see where it might be you, though. I could see where that might be you. Lizards. We got some lizards. Where's some lizards? I don't know if you'd call this a lizard. It's a great cover by Gil Kane, but then what, that's all Gil Kane pretty much did. That looks like a lizard, man. That's stretching though. He kind of looks lizardy though, right? Gil Kane, I'm not sure about the inker. Really wouldn't want to conjecture on the inker on that one. Good stuff though. That's before I started collecting. 25 cents. Boy, what I wouldn't give to go back to the days of 25 cents. 5 cents a comic. All right. I guess I'm probably going to have to do a search. That's sad. Thought I might come up with a lizard somewhere. Here you go. Batman and House of Mystery, which they did they just did horror better, even when they did a combination like that. Guess I'm going to have to do a search. That's the quickest way to get me some lizard representation. Or Lorenzo. Oh, here you go. Oh, this is awesome. Yeah. Black and white, still a Gorgo. Yes. With the diving bell. I said yes real loud, and Abby kind of was like, "What?" Startled Abby. Gorgo. Hell yeah. Gorgo diving bell. Yeah, there he is, destroying everything. The mother, anyway. I don't know if that's the baby or the mother. Gorgo. Yeah. Throw her out the window. John, I might have to find Gorgo, man. It's it's not my favorite movie, but it is a good one to watch, Why not dress up as the adult Lucy Van Peanuts? Apex got, Now some is Gorgo. I mean, is it Gorgo aquatic? Look, here's your lizard representation by Art Adams. I just watched the episode with the lizard, Dr. Connors. Look at that. Art Adams, the lizard from Spider-Man. Wow. That's just cool now. That is cool. Very nice. Very nice indeed. Very cool. Goes back to the days of Steve Ditko. Very early character created for Spider-Man. Oh, here you go. 4.0, number 45 with the lizard on the cover, which is one of the early John Romita Sr. books after Ditko had already left. Nice lizard there to go with that slab with the beaker in hand. That's so cool. Like the lizard, the lab coat and everything. In the 67 cartoon, he actually had both arms. Dr. Connor was had an amputee, right? On one side. But in the cartoon, not so much. Oh, another lizard that was cool was in Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man. You forgot the hex opener? Yeah, go back and watch it. Yeah, I didn't forget it. I was like, yeah, maybe you want to run that past both of us. Maybe not. It's a little bit. Just watch the Scorpion too. The Scorpion episode where the Scorpion's introduced. Alex Gerbut, he is he does a lot with lizards. Here's one of his. He's a Russian artist. He's that one that does the funky coloring, for like the black light poster looks, I really like his stuff. A lizard wizard on the lizard wizard, say that 10 times, playing the bongos and on Casio. I'm going to call him Casio synthesizer, Joe Jusko, the lizard. How about that? Trading card artwork. That is so cool. Again, green and purple, good villain colors, right? But where does the Incredible Hulk and the lizard get these purple pants at? I don't think I've owned some Levi's, but I don't think I've ever owned purple pants or even magenta, And why isn't Craven the Hunter put his head on the wall yet? Or hunted down the rhino? Here's Mark Bagley's lizard. A little bit different. Mark Bagley. Gil Kane and Dan Atkins, Avenger cover. Yeah. Mark Bagley doing a good job on the lizard. I liked his New Warriors type stuff. For sure. John Byrne here. We Craven the Hunter and the Lizard and Spider-Man there. See, this looks about postage stamp to me. Hopefully we'll get the system working a little bit better. So lots of lizard representation for you today. Here's the old 1975 Mego ad. I always looked at these Mego figures and thought, oh man, I wish I had them. But I went after the Star Trek and the Planet of the Apes stuff. You would have thought that I would have got Marvel something. They were so cool. But yeah, there's the Lizard and Hulk and Falcon and Green Goblin. So cool. Anyway, I agree. DC had some better and constant horror titles. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, you can go over and watch that on YouTube. I think I might have dropped the link down in the description. I'm not sure. Gorgeous from 1962. Yeah. So just I'll see you again on the Hump Day show over there on Omer's channel tonight. I'll try and make that, and in the meantime, draw up some characters, pencil them, get them ready to ink and color. If I do a bunch of those, it should make some headway on these sketch cards, and that's what we want to do. You must be on delay. You're just starting now saying Gorgo for 1962. You must be on delay, Apex. Anyway, by the time you get this, we'll be gone. Keep collecting, and we'll see you again tomorrow on the 4 o'clock shadow, and maybe Momentum Universe will be a little bit closer to being a reality for all of us. Bow for now.